Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ankit Cloud. In this video, we are going to look at the AWS EKS core objects. So in EKS, we will have some objects that will be created for us by AWS itself. We will see what are those objects. Firstly, on top, we will have EKS cluster. Okay, so with the cluster we will get four different components. One is a control plane, EKS control plane. You can call that as control plane. The second one would be worker nodes or worker nodes and the node groups. Okay, worker nodes and node groups. The third one is Fargate profile. We will talk about what are these things. And the fourth one and the last one is VPC. Okay, so let's check one by one as to what are these components are. First, we will talk about the AWS EKS control plane. So in control plane, it contains Kubernetes master components. So if you ask me what are the master components, if you have gone through the previous video in the same playlist, you will understand that. So master components like etcd, API server, right? So we will also have controller manager, and we will also get everything is managed by AWS. So all the things here that you see in the control plane is managed by AWS itself. You don't have to worry about anything. Now let's talk about the worker nodes, worker node groups. Here you will get a group of EC2 instances where you will run your application workloads. Basically, as I told you, Kubernetes works in the master node architecture, and as I told you, if you want to distribute your workloads, so what it will do under the hood, it is going to create an EC2 instance, and number of EC2 instance, how much ever you specify, that worker nodes will be created, and that is where you run your application workloads. If that is clear, let's go ahead and check what is Fargate profile. So instead of running your EC2 instances, we can run our application workloads on the serverless Fargate profile. So that's why we can use Fargate profiles along with EKS cluster if you want to take advantage of serverless. Meaning, in sometimes what happens, right? If you want, you can manage your EC2 instance here, and you will have to take care of the patching and everything of the OS, everything you will have to take care. But if you do not want, you can also go with managed node groups. Everything is managed by the AWS itself. Okay, so that is a different concept. Now, instead of that, you also can go with Fargate profile, which is completely serverless. Meaning, instead of running your EC2 instance, you can delegate that work to AWS itself, and everything is managed by AWS, so that you only worry about your workloads. Okay, so that's about Fargate profile. Next, we have VPC. So with VPC, we follow secure networking standards, which will allow us to run production workloads on EKS. Whenever you create an EKS cluster using EKS CTL command, just like we saw in the previous video, it will go ahead and create a new VPC for us, right? So which is very secure and which is also in production ready. You don't have to worry about anything there. So that's all about the architecture or core objects that we get as part of EKS. Now let's see how EKS actually works. So to do that, what you can do is you can go to Amazon site and you can search for how EKS works, and there is a beautiful documentation provided by them itself, and it is very, very clear. So you can go through this document. If you see here, let me zoom in a bit. You have your EKS cluster here, right? You have either go with EC2, deploy worker nodes for your EKS cluster, or you will go with AWS Fargate. So you will deploy the serverless containers. So then you will run your Kubernetes applications and then that will be deployed on your EKS dashboard and also in your AWS console. You can explore running Kubernetes applications. So this is how it works. So if you want, you can also connect to EKS using EKS CTL commands, and you can also run kubectl commands on your local machine itself. So I have shown that in a different video. I think the previous one where we created a cluster using EKS CTL command. You can check that out. So as I told you let's go back to the page where we were discussing about the architecture and the core objects. So EKS actually runs a single tenant Kubernetes control plane for each cluster, and control plane infrastructure is not shared across the clusters or AWS accounts. What I mean is, let's say this is your AWS account, and here you create two clusters, okay, two EKS clusters. Let's say EKS cluster 1 and this is 2. So these two cluster is not shared. I mean, these are not shared with anyone else. So whatever you run on that particular tenant, Kubernetes control plane for each cluster and control plane infrastructure is not shared between these two clusters. That you need to understand. So this control plane consists of at least 2 API server nodes and 3 HZ nodes that runs across 3 availability zone within the region. So wherever you deploy your cluster, you will have the high availability for your EKS cluster. So EKS CTL or EKS automatically detects and replaces unhealthy control plane instances, restarting them across the availability zone within the region as needed. So if any of the control plane components goes down, automatically the EKS will detect them and it will replace them. Now, worker machines in EKS are also called as nodes. You already know that. So these these are also your EC2 instance. When I say nodes, in the mind you should be thinking like it is an EC2 instance. Okay. EKS worker nodes run in our AWS account and connect to our cluster's control plane via cluster API server endpoint. So I told you in the architecture itself, we have something called as API server, and that is where the communication happens. So our node groups resides in our AWS account, and the control plane objects also resides in our AWS account, and that will connect to the API server endpoint. Okay, so a node group is one or more EC2 instances that are deployed in your EC2 auto scaling group. We also have something called as ASGs. So node group is nothing but one or more EC2 instances that are deployed in an EC2 auto scaling group. So it can be of the same instance type. When I say auto scaling group, it can be of same instance type or a different one. So it can be running with the same AMI or a different AMI. Use the EKS, use the same EKS worker node with the IAM role. So that is a very key point that you need to take a note here. Okay, so if that is clear, let's go out and see what else is required to understand. So when I was talking about the core objects, we also talked about a Fargate profile. So let's understand what are Fargate profiles a bit, then we will proceed further. Okay, so Fargate profiles. AWS Fargate is a technology that provides on-demand right-sized compute capacity for containers. So it provides on-demand, okay, right-sized compute capacity. Okay, so these are the 3 key points that you need to know. This will be provided for the containers to run the containerized application. So with Fargate, we no longer have to provision, configure or scale groups of virtual machines to run the containers. So we don't have to manage the virtual machines in order to run the containers. So each pod running on Fargate has its own isolation boundary. A pod running on the Fargate will have isolation boundary. So it cannot go out of this. Like this, a boundary will be there if the pod is running in a Fargate profile. So its own isolation boundary will be there, and it does not share the underlying kernel, CPU resources, memory resources, or elastic network interface with other pod. So as I told you, this pod will be isolated and it will not share any of the CPU, memory, network interface with the other pod that is running in the same target profile. Okay, so AWS specifically built Fargate controllers that recognizes the pod belonging to Fargate and schedule them on the Fargate profiles itself. So when they have built in such a way that whenever you create a controller, whenever you create a pod specifically for Fargate, so it will only go ahead and sit in the Fargate profiles itself. So we will see how this works in the demonstration later. But as I told you, this is all you have to know when we are talking about EKS. So we will also touch base on VPC a little bit so that we are also aware of this topic. So EKS uses AWS VPC as a network policy to restrict the traffic between the control plane and the cluster, right? So you will have control plane resources and you will also have other objects. So this EKS will use VPC as a network policies to restrict traffic between the control plane components to within a single cluster. So control plane components for EKS cluster cannot view or receive communication from other clusters or other AWS accounts except as authorized with the Kubernetes airbag policies. So as I told you, whatever the resources that are present in the control plane, it is specific to that cluster itself. It cannot talk to any other AWS account or any other cluster until and unless you have authorized it in the Kubernetes airbag policies. So what is airbag? It is a role-based access control. We will talk about this in the coming videos where it will be clear to you. Okay, so this secure and highly available configuration makes EKS reliable and recommended for production workloads. So this exact reason why people are preferring EKS cluster and they are running the EKS cluster for production grade workloads. So if you understand this concept, if you really understand it, you have a lot of things to manage if you are trying to use Kubernetes on your on-prem. So instead of that, if you are going with the cloud, you can use EKS and you can avoid some of the works that can be managed by the AWS directly, right? So that's all I had for this video, where I covered the core objects that are related in the EKS, so that you will be understanding it whenever we talk in the future videos. So that's it I had. If you're liking the content that I'm creating, please consider subscribing and share it with your friends. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.